What's going on, guys? It's Hit Squad here again with another video. So, let's talk draft. Now, I wanted to take uh, this day, I wanted to take my Sunday and pretty much just look over who did we draft and what should we expect. Now, it's a little bit hard for me to determine what to expect when I don't really even know what to expect from this defense other than this defense seems to be a positionless defense, meaning versatility, versatility, versatility. You're not going to have one player just doing one thing. And it's pretty much what Joe Judge has been saying since he came through the door. Now, I will be the first to say, I'm not going to go over all of these draft picks, especially primarily, let's say, in the seventh round. I found one player in the seventh round I really liked that I'm going to briefly go over, and I'm going to give you my opinion on the other ones. Before I do that, let me take a shot of yak. If you don't know what yak is, we call it yak here in South Florida, Tennessee. So let's get started. With the fourth overall pick, the Giants ended up selecting Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle from Georgia. I really like this pick. This was, I would say, my favorite, if not my second favorite pick of this whole draft. This solidifies our left side of the offensive line, in my honest opinion. It does. He didn't give up a single QB pressure or sack in 2019 playing in the SEC, which that's very uncommon to hear. What I like about Andrew Thomas is that he's very consistent. He's not one of these tackles that, they're a developmental player or, they have to be uh, pretty much in a specific system for them to fit in. I did want Tristan Wirfs at first, which I think a lot of people wanted, or Jedrick Wills. But we have to remember that around December to February time, Andrew Thomas was rated as the highest rated offensive tackle. He was. And I don't think that just because he was rated in the top three of offensive linemen that he was a bad pick. I just think that the other players such as Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs, they had a good combine that really boosted their stock. That's just how I feel, but I think this solidifies our left side for hopefully for the next 10 to 15 years with Daniel Jones. Now, second round, Xavier McKinney. This was probably my favorite pick. Xavier McKinney was rated as the best safety in this draft. He played so many positions, and I'm not going to compare it to Isaiah Simmons. I'm just not going to do that. I think they're similar in terms of versatility. You know, Xavier McKinney was projected to go into the first round, and projected to really go to Dallas. Dallas took CeeDee Lamb. You can't blame Dallas for doing that. But he fell right into our lap in the second round, and you really can't be upset with this. I've been saying since we drafted him, I think the McKinney and Peppers duo is going to be a force. It's going to be a force, and the versatility. You could drop Peppers, you could drop McKinney, put McKinney maybe in the slot, off the edge. Same thing with Peppers, and it really expands his defense. He actually played post safety, Will, Mike, and Too High at Alabama. And in their scheme, he excelled. And I looked into it. He actually excelled as a blitzer as well, specifically on third down. You guys remember how we did on third downs. Horrible. That Green Bay game, don't get me fucking started. Don't get me started. Now, third round, we selected Matt Pearl. Excuse me if I pronounce it wrong. Offensive tackle from UConn. This one had people about it. I wasn't one of those people though. I actually like this pick. I really like this pick because I think that Matt Pearl has a high upside. He grew up a Giants fan, but he is my God, I can never get this right. A developmental kind of player. He is. I believe that he could be our starting right tackle in 2021. Not right now. We got to put Nate to the right side, see how he does, and I believe that Nate is after this year coming up, he's off of the team, unless he has an amazing year. But I just don't see that happening. We haven't had that with Nate, um, even in his most valuable position in left tackle. But I thought it was a good value pick. A lot of these picks are good value picks, but gets a little bit shaky as we get through the rest of the draft. Fourth round pick, we selected Darnay Holmes, cornerback from UCLA. This is where, for me, it got a little shaky. Because while I liked the pick, I thought we could have maybe went a different route of maybe an edge or a center if you're going to keep trying to fix the offensive line, though they address it later in the rounds. Darnay Holmes isn't a bad pick. He was rated by some as the best nickel corner in the draft, which we need that. We need a good nickel corner down there. We can't rely on Grant Haley. He's more, let's be honest. Look at it. Look up the stats if you don't believe me. Grant Haley is a better tackler than he is of a coverage nickel corner. And we need that. How many times last year did we see different teams put their best receiver in the slot, and Haley and Ballentine were getting torched? We need somebody to stop that. We really do, and I really like that this defense is going to be positionless. A lot of versatility across the board. I think that Darnay Holmes can bring versatility. He's a tough player. We just got to see how Patrick Graham's going to use him. Now, this was, in my honest opinion, a very interesting pick because I wasn't expecting it. I didn't see it coming, but the more I do my research into it, the more I'm liking this pick. Shane Lemieux, offensive tackle from Oregon. Now, he's listed as a guard. However, he has center experience. Joe Judge came out and said that they're going to try to, coach him under the center and guard position. So for the center, it drives up competition with Nick Gates. For the guard, if they decide to, within the next 2-3 years, get rid of Kevin Zeitler, because he is on the opposite side of 30, then you have a player here that you can develop. But, a lot of these players that we drafted are, what I like is, they're players for the future. Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge didn't come in here thinking of a one-year plan. They're thinking of a multi-year plan. We are in the second year of the rebuild. And it's good that we are taking players that aren't, like, as Joe Judge said, 53 contractors. We need a team. And we need players that fit a scheme that they're trying to do. We don't know their scheme yet. We don't. We just have to see as fans how this plays out. We may have ideas, but we really need to see. I think that Shane Lemieux is a good developmental player. I'm pretty sure we're gonna just put Nick Gates at center, just to see how that goes. Maybe middle of the year, if it's not working out, switch it with Shane Lemieux. But for now, I believe that Nick Gates will be our center. Now, with the rest of the picks, I found one 7th rounder that I liked, and the 6th rounder, I'm going to briefly touch on it because I wasn't too crazy about it. With the 6th round, we went Cam Brown, linebacker from Penn State. Now, he is good off of the edge from what I not only read but watched, but he is not the best in coverage, which, it's going to happen. You can't have both. I mean, if you do have both, kudos, but unfortunately with this pick, we can't have both, and we did need an edge. The ties are there with Coach Chaos, though different position where the Coach Chaos coached. You got to look at it as, he had a better eye, I would feel, can give maybe more input. I think this maybe was kind of preference to that with the ties with Coach Chaos down in Penn State, but we got to really see. And, even with the 7th round, not all of these players I feel are going to make the 55-man roster. But, we just really have to wait and see. Out of the 4 7th round picks, it was one that I actually liked. The rest of them I was not crazy about. And the pick is not Mr. Irrelevant. The pick is Carter Coughlin, linebacker out of Minnesota. I actually like this pick. I like it because he gets to the quarterback. He's a physical, hard hitting edge outside linebacker. He's tough, can't cover, same as Cam Brown, he cannot cover, but he can be used in certain packages or even in depth, which is good. But you have to understand a lot of these seventh round players aren't going to make the team. If they do, that's good, maybe practice squad or depth, but we can't expect them to be starters. I think it does add depth. I wish we would have went more edge um, in the draft or maybe wide receiver. I'm gonna make a separate video talking about the undrafted wide receivers that we picked up because we picked up a few. But look, I understand why some fans were kind of iffy about this draft that we did. Certain needs that we didn't fully address, such as wide receiver or edge. Some people wanted Thaddeus Moss, which I don't think that's a bad pick. He's on the Redskins now, but I don't think that's a bad pick if you draft all of these linebackers in the seventh round. One of those could have been Thaddeus Moss. Um, but I think, to be honest with you, I'm going to give this draft a B. I can't give it a B plus or an A. I'm going to give it a B, only because from after the fifth round, it got a little shaky for me. It got to the point where it just seems like they were just throwing darts on the board and hoping they hit. And I get it, when you have that many picks. I think we all expected maybe a trade up. That didn't happen at all. And that's okay. Or maybe even a trade down. A lot of people wanted us to trade from 4 down, get more picks, and you could still probably get Andrew Thomas. But, we had to look at it as if Detroit really couldn't trade the third pick, it's going to be hard for us to trade the 4th pick. Now, let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I'm going to give it a B. We really have to see with these players how they're going to do. We don't even know the scheme that they're going to be running on the defensive side. We have an idea of the offensive side, but the defensive side, we don't really know. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, that's why. Because